Chapter 12 of The Mystery of Edwin Drood. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Alan Chant. The Mystery of Edwin Drood, the unfinished novel by Charles Dickens. Chapter 12. A Night with Durdles. When Mr. Sapsea has nothing better to do, towards evening, and finds the contemplation of his own profundity becoming a little monotonous, in spite of the vastness of the subject, he often takes an airing in the cathedral close and thereabout. He likes to pass the churchyard with a swelling air of proprietorship, and to encourage in his breast a sort of benignant landlord feeling, in that he has been bountiful towards that meritorious tenant, Mrs. Sapsea, and has publicly given her a prize. He likes to see a stray face or two looking in through the railings, and perhaps reading his inscription. Should he meet a stranger coming from the churchyard with a quick step, he is morally convinced that the stranger is, with a blush retiring, as monumentally directed. Mr. Sapsea's importance has received enhancement, for he has become mayor of Cloisterham. Without mayors, and many of them, it cannot be disputed that the whole framework of society, Mr. Sapsea is confident that he invented that forcible figure, would fall to pieces. Mayors have been knighted for going up with addresses, explosive machines intrepidly discharging shot and shell into the English grammar. Mr. Sapsea may go up with an address. Rise, Sir Thomas Sapsea. Of such is the salt of the earth. Mr. Sapsea has improved the acquaintance of Mr. Jasper since their first meeting to partake of port, epitaph, backgammon, beef, and salad. Mr. Sapsea has been received at the gatehouse with kindred hospitality, and on that occasion Mr. Jasper seated himself at the piano and sang to him, tickling his ears, figuratively, long enough to present a considerable area for tickling. What Mr. Sapsea likes in that young man is, that he is always ready to profit by the wisdom of his elders, and that he is sound, sir, at the core, in proof of which he sang to Mr. Sapsea that evening no kickshaw ditties, favourites with national enemies, but gave him the genuine George III home-brewed, exhorting him as "my brave boys," to reduce to a smashed condition all other islands but this island, and all continents, peninsulas, isthmuses, promontories, and other geographical forms of land soever, besides sweeping the seas in all directions. In short, he rendered it pretty clear that Providence made a distinct mistake in originating so small a nation of hearts of oak, and so many other verminous peoples. Mr. Sapsea, walking slowly this moist evening near the churchyard, with his hands behind him, on the look-out for a blushing and retiring stranger, turns a corner, and comes instead into the goodly presence of the Dean, conversing with the Verger and Mr. Jasper. Mr. Sapsea makes his obeisance, and is instantly stricken far more ecclesiastical than any Archbishop of York or Canterbury. "You are evidently going to write a book about us, Mr. Jasper," quoth the Dean. "To write a book about us? Well, we are very ancient, and we ought to make a good book. We are not so richly endowed in possessions as in age, but perhaps you will put that in your book, amongst other things, and call attention to our wrongs." Mr. Tope, as in duty bound, is greatly entertained by this. "I really have no intention at all, sir," replies Jasper, "of turning author or archaeologist. It is but a whim of mine, and even for my whim Mr. Sapsea here is more accountable than I am." "How so, Mr. Mayor?" says the Dean, with a nod of good-natured recognition of his fetch. "How is that, Mr. Mayor?" "I am not aware Mr. Sapsea remarks, looking about him for information, to what the very Reverend the Dean does me the honour of referring, and then falls to studying his original in minute points of detail. Durdles? Mr. Tope hints. Ah, the Dean echoes, Durdles, Durdles. The truth is, sir, explains Jasper, that my curiosity in the man was first really stimulated by Mr. Sapsea. Mr. Sapsea's knowledge of mankind and power of drawing out whatever is recluse or odd around him first led to my bestowing a second thought upon the man, though of course I had met him constantly about. You would not be surprised by this, Mr. Dean, if you had seen Mr. Sapsea deal with him in his own parlour, as I did. Oh, cries Sapsea, picking up the ball thrown to him with ineffable complacency and pomposity. Yes, yes, the very Reverend the Dean refers to that. Yes, I happened to bring Durdles and Mr. Jasper together. I regard Durdles as a character. A character, Mr. Sapsea, that with a few skilful touches you turn inside out, says Jasper. Nay, not quite that, returns the lumbering auctioneer. I may have a little influence over him, perhaps, and a little insight into his character, perhaps. The very Reverend the Dean will please to bear in mind that I have seen the world. Here Mr. Sapsea gets a little behind the Dean to inspect his coat buttons. Well, says the Dean, looking about him to see what has become of his copyist, I hope, Mr. Mayor, you will use your study and knowledge of Durdles to the good purpose of exhorting him not to break our worthy and respected choir-master's neck. We cannot afford it. His head and voice are much too valuable to us. Mr. Tope is again highly entertained, and having fallen into respectful convulsions of laughter, subsides into a deferential murmur, importing that surely any gentleman would deem it a pleasure and an honour to have his neck broken, in return for such a compliment from such a source. I will take it upon myself, sir, observes Sapsea loftily, to answer for Mr. Jasper's neck. I will tell Durdles to be careful of it. He will mind what I say. How is it at present endangered? He inquires, looking about him with magnificent patronage. Only by my making a moonlight expedition with Durdles among the tombs, vaults, towers, and ruins, returns Jasper. You remember suggesting, when you brought us together, that, as a lover of the picturesque, it might be worth my while. I remember, replies the auctioneer, and the solemn idiot really believes that he does remember. Profiting by your hint, pursues Jasper, I have had some day rambles with the extraordinary old fellow, and we are to make a moonlight hole and corner exploration to-night. And here he is, says the Dean. Durdles, with his dinner bundle in his hand, is indeed beheld slouching towards them. Slouching nearer, and perceiving the Dean, he pulls off his hat, and is slouching away with it under his arm when Mr. Sapsea stops him. Mind you take care of my friend, is the injunction Mr. Sapsea lays upon him. What friend of yourn is dead? asks Durdles. No orders has come in for any friend of yourn. I mean my live friend there. Oh, him, says Durdles. He can take care of himself, can Mr. Jasper. But do you take care of him too, says Sapsea, whom Durdles, there being command in his tone, surlily surveys from head to foot. With submission to his Reverence the Dean,
If you'll mind what concerns you, Mr.